welcome to this episode of Keep It Positive, Sweetie. Today I am talking about love the way God intended. And guys, this is something I'm still trying to navigate because I haven't figured it out. But when I think about love the way God intended, I think of two things. Charlemagne the God said it wasn't until he started to honor his wife that his whole world changed. He stopped cheating. He went to therapy. He said, I saw my whole world turn around. And then in the Bible, it says, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing and favor upon the Lord. So I have brought two of my friends, people I love and admire so much, Shameka Daniels and Dr. Dharius Daniels, who are my spiritual leaders here at Change Church in Atlanta. You guys can come. We have a good time. And you also have a church in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Is there any other locations that I'm missing?
No, that's
okay,
it.
All right.
That's
but we got global too. We everywhere.
Right,
So
yes,
y'all can
yes,
tap
yes,
in.
that's right.
And you guys have been, I'm telling you, like, every time I post you guys, people are like tapping into my DM saying, one lady asked me to come to Shiloh High School and she said, I just want you to know that you brought me back to the Lord from posting. So now she goes to change.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I started tearing up. I'm like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
That's my street.
Yeah.
That's right.
Talking
your
about.
street.
Yes.
Don't play with her. She
Don't
listening.
play.
Yes,
She's
that's right.
listening. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I love your relationship. I love how you I just love how you guys are. And I was
Yeah.
like, if I'm gonna have anybody on, I want to have you two on.
Wow.
Thank
And
you.
yes, of course.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys for
Yeah,
coming.
we
Y'all
love
are
you.
busy.
Yeah.
We love you, and we're excited about everything that's happening with you.
Thank
right.
you.
Super proud, impressed.
Thank you.
And we happy to be. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yes, thank
All
you.
right.
Yes.
We're gonna keep it spiritual and spicy.
That's what we
Look
do.
at it both.
We're going for both.
We going for both.
Yes.
Both
I
of them.
love it. I love it. So a little story time, backstory.
Yeah.
It was 2019, top of the year. You know, at the top of the year, we always have these revelations of
Right.
things we're going to do different. We got our New Year's resolutions and other things that we want to change in our lives. And at that time, I was like, you know what, God, I'm tired of heartbreak. I'm tired of relationships not working. I know the type of woman I am. I know I'm a wife. I know I'm a wife. And I'm like, Lord, where is he?
Yeah.
So I meet this guy, and at the time he was like every morning posting scriptures on his Instagram, and like he would post like, has pandemic hit? Yeah, it was the top of 2020, so 2019. Oh, pandemic hadn't happened yet. So he was posting, his church is in Virginia, and he was posting like sermons, and I was like, okay, this guy's really into the Lord. And he would send me Dr. Tony Evans. He would send me his stuff. And I was like, okay, a man after God's own heart. I like it. And I was like, okay, God, I'm gonna do it your way. I'm gonna practice it your way because I'm tired of doing it. Clearly my way isn't working. Yeah. So let me try this different. And I wasn't having sex. We were going to church together. And I was like, this is really good. And they always say if you abstain from sex, and it'll show you what he's really around for.
Oh, yeah.
And we dated for a year, didn't do anything the whole time, and it was great. We built a good friendship. But what I found was that I started feeling like some distance coming. And I was like, something's off here. I'm not feeling the same energy I was feeling. Like he wasn't keeping that same energy.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think he was getting worn out, of the weight.
Right.
And a year later, we decided to break up. But I said, okay, Lord, it didn't work. I was testing you. I'm like, Lord, I want this to be my testimony. I did it your way, and it worked. And like, I changed my life, and I did it God's way. Kind of how Charlemagne was. As soon as I started honoring my wife, everything had changed. I wanted that to be my story. It was not my story. And so needless to say, I wasn't picking myself off the ground. I wasn't in the shower crying like I would from previous breakups.
Right.
And we're still friends to this day. And I was like, okay, God, there was a lesson to take from that. You put practices into place so that it protects us.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm still whole from after this, and I still have a great friend, but I'm trying to see. I wanted to bring you guys on to kind of help dive. I just turned 40. Lord.
Wow.
Yes, 40.
Congratulations.
40 club. Yes.
That's a good thing.
And still single. So I'm like, I know there's a lot of women that go through the same thing.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to just kind of dive into it. I want to know, like, how did you guys meet, and kind of what was your story? Like, did you know as soon as you started? That's my wife.
First of all, what version do you want?
I want the real version.
You want the real version?
Yes,
Okay.
give me the real.
All right. So I'm gonna give the
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna give my version.
Okay, there we go.
And I'm gonna add my part too.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
So I'm gonna give you the truth. All right. She's gonna add her part. So long story short is I went to this, we met in college.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I went to this small school in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
And she went to this larger school in Hattiesburg. So my school was like more academic. The social life was kind of trash. So we would drive
My
to her school for all the parties.
Yes.
So it was a fraternity party, sorority party, whatever.
Yeah.
So me and my friends, we went down there. So we're at this party, right? And there's this girl I see. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to her. So
Okay.
she's sitting it wasn't her. It was- so the girl is sitting on this like little bench.
Yes.
So I go and I start sitting. I sit on the bench. I start having a conversation with the girl. Now I want you to see what's happening here. It's a long bench. The girl's on the end. I'm right next to the girl. You got all this other space on the bench. All of a sudden, she walks over.
I know that's right.
Sits right in between me and the girl. So my friend, one of my best friends, who like he's here in Atlanta right now. He works with us. He was there that night. He was like, "Yo, what is she doing?" I'm like, "I have no idea." So the other girl gets up and leaves.
She read the room.
And she eventually leaves. So I'm like, you didn't even want me. You just, what's up with this? And then I'm leaving the party that night, and she's standing by the door. She takes a piece of paper, she writes her name and the number on it, and gives it to me and say, "Call me if you're interested."
Yeah, give me that. Yeah.
But the part that he did not tell in the story.
Wait a minute, I didn't know that part, and I'm not sure if I believe it, but go ahead.
Call her today. So it was one of my sorority sisters, and she was actually dating a football player. And so I was just like, oh, this is our party. We don't want this party to be a disaster. So I don't want this guy to have any trouble. When I saw him, he walked through the room, he had his hat on. I was like, yes, come on. I'm like, he's cute. But when I saw him go over to her, I said, I don't even want this guy to get in this trouble. So I'm going to just go,
So you was
Yeah.
the angel. You was like, I'm gonna go ahead and protect him.
It was
then,
mixed
since
motives.
he was cute, I'm like, let me just go and give him my number too. So that was my subtle way of saying, I'm saving you,
But to your
but
credit,
I'm interested too.
To your credit, there were like the football players had they had like gotten into a couple of fights.
Yes.
Oh,
And then it
Recently.
shut everything down.
Yeah, and so,
Gotcha.
and I was.
And I was
I'm small now,
over
but
the
I was super
fundraiser,
small
so
then.
like I think we threw the party, so I probably like put the party on.
got you.
Yeah.
She was
taking
that
care of
girl.
everything. Right.
Still that girl.
Yeah.
I love that.
Then later I'll tell you all the stuff that happened after that, because that was really.
Yeah, that's the
interesting.
whole other story.
Like, so how long did it take you to call her? Like, was that like an instant?
I actually called her the next week,
Okay.
but she told me her name and gave me the number.
Oh, so you can.
So she said Shameka. I thought she said Tamika.
Gotcha.
So when I called her dorm room,
My
her roommate picked up. Petty. I was like, "Hey, can I speak to Tamika?" "Don't know Tamika live here," and hung up.
Oh,
All
my-
she had to say was,
You mean Shameka?
"You mean Shameka?"
Yeah.
So it was like months because she didn't have my number, and that was back in the day. I'm about to date myself. It was no cell phone. She had one of those
I bet
bad
I had a
cell-
pager though. I had a pager.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So she didn't have my number. So I had no way. I was like, this girl did all this and gave me a fake number.
Wow.
And literally, we were at this event months later, me and some of my fraternity brothers, and she just happened to be there. And I was like, "You gave me a fake number." And she's like, "No, I didn't," or whatever. So we kind of like reconnected after that.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. So what was like the courtship to covenant like?
Yeah. So that was
It was. I think it was interesting because he was clear on what he wanted.
Yeah, I think I was
So
pretty clear.
I was in the
Good.
season where I had been raised in church, but I was enjoying college. So I went to Bible study on Wednesday night, church on
Yeah.
Sunday, but I lived life through the week.
Yes.
And I think for him,
What does
he
that
was
mean? The
clear.
people need to know what
So
that
I went to the
means.
club. I did all of it.
Me too.
I did it all.
wanna
I
know.
did all that. But I love Jesus.
Yes.
As well. And so when we actually were talking, you were really clear. And I think that even made me admire you even the more and be attracted to you. You were clear, but I don't think I was as clear.
Yeah, you were figuring out. Let me tell you this. I think the people need to know this.
Let's tell the
I
people.
think the people need to
Put
know.
me out there. Go ahead. Come
No,
on.
no.
I'm ready. Let's
Okay,
go.
no, I'm sorry. I got you. I got you.
I got you.
I
I'm
got you.
good.
So, we are. I guess we were talking, but we hadn't defined the relationship.
Yes.
So we had talked for a while before we
Yeah.
defined the relationship, right?
Okay.
And I'll never forget this. This is how we went from just
Yes.
talking to dating, exclusive, to courtship. This is how we got to courtship.
Okay.
She's getting ready to go to this. There's a school in Mississippi, Alcorn State, so it's an HBCU.
Yes.
So she's getting ready to go to this fraternity party or sorority party or something at Alcorn. I'm literally in my apartment in Jackson, Mississippi. I get this call. She's like, "Hey, me and my friends, we're going to Alcorn tonight for this thing." I was like, "All right, dope. Have a good time, whatever." She's like, "But I need to ask you something." She said, "I need to know before I go here, am I taken?" I was like, "Are you taken? What are you saying?" She was like, "Well, I know when I go here, it's gonna be people here, whatever. I just need to know, am I taken?" I was like, "You taken? You are taken. You are absolutely taken."
I love it.
So that's I know people.
Yes.
They probably expected something way more romantic than that.
No.
But no, it's something, and it's something I believe this. I teach, and I think that sometimes stuff will stay in the gray relationally if a person isn't assertive enough
Yes.
to require a person to make a decision.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
true.
Yes.
So I don't feel like she rushed me because it's like, yo, it's been some months.
Right? Yeah.
But at this point, you should know
need to know.
if you want me or not in that way.
Exactly.
And so I just felt like I didn't feel pressure, but I realized like,
Yeah.
I want this exclusively. So
Yes.
I made the decision.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I love that. I think nowadays dating, men they don't apply the pressure like they used to. They don't, I go out and men don't even come up to me.
Wow.
Really?
Swear. I'm like, I don't know if I'm intimidating. Some people say, "Oh, I thought you had a man." You kind of carry yourself like you already have someone. But I was taught that way. I was taught that you shouldn't be out here loose and like, you can pinpoint, oh, she's definitely single. Right. So I was taught not to do that.
Yeah.
But it's like men they're not intentional. They don't come to you and say, "Hey, like I would like to get to know you."
Right.
It's almost like they want you to come up to them. And I don't know if both genders are now like scared of rejection or what that is.
Yeah.
I think we talk about that often when we're working with other couples and when we're talking to singles. And I think that is one of the things, because even with him, honestly, well, you were trying to talk to somebody else, but honestly, I don't know if he
Wait a minute. Time out. Flag on the play. I wasn't trying to talk to someone else.
Well, you were sitting next to my sorority sister.
Oh, you're right. I thought you meant when we were courting.
No,
like I
no,
was talking to somebody else. Okay,
But
I got it.
initial meeting.
Right.
Yeah.
So the
My bad,
initial
my bad.
meeting, but even with that, you were super casual with it. And so I don't know, some men may, not want to be rejected or turned down. And so, and people, I felt like at first when we would tell the story, people would be like, well, it says, the Bible says, who findeth a wife. So we went after him. And I'm like, well, I feel like if it's something that you're interested in, sometimes you have to just kind of put yourself out there.
Good. Yes.
That's why I did the piece of paper. And then if he's interested, then he would,
Yeah,
That's good.
but it wasn't. Yeah, I don't feel like she was. I didn't feel like thirsty. I didn't feel any of that.
Yeah.
It was like her making sure I knew she was interested.
Exactly.
And so
And there's ways to do that.
And there are ways to do that. And and guys know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because guys can definitely tell when you're not giving us the energy, right?
Well, I don't know, because there's a few that don't get
I
the
think
picture.
some are stubborn
no,
though.
understand.
Yeah,
I'm like, either
you're
you
right.
like just don't read the room or can't read. I'm like, 'cause
Yeah.
I'm not giving you any play. I don't
Right.
like
They
you.
can be persistent. They can be persistent though. A little
It's like it makes them
self-deceptive.
go hard. I'm like, no, don't go at all. Just stop. But the right one, we want them to apply all
that's
the
right.
pressure.
Yeah.
All the pressure.
All the pressure. So
Yeah.
yesterday in church, you said that you felt like you were called to be his helpmate.
Yes,
At
absolutely.
what point did you, I guess, like once you knew that you guys were going to be together, at what point did you say, this is what I was called to do? And what did he do to make you know that? Because a lot of times I think when we look for characteristics and actions in men to be like, okay, I feel safe with this person, I'm put on earth to help this person.
Right.
Yeah.
What was it that...
So I think when we were dating, we always complimented each other, but I think it actually took years into our marriage where I actually adopted the mindset, like I really was created for Dharius Daniels, because I feel like we're like a piece of a puzzle.
Yeah.
The places that maybe I had strengths, then, we just complement each other in that way. And I remember I was going through my own healing journey where I needed to be emotionally healthy. A lot of times I got a lot of my worth and value out of what I did and not necessarily who I was. And so in that process, I was able to start learning who Shameka was. And in that, I'm like, I am
Love
super
it.
creative. Like God really created Shameka for Dharius. And I mean, after that revelation, because it was so bad, I would tell him, people would ask me like, what do you do? And when I would say, I help him and, help him with the business or help him with the church, I'm like, okay, well, what do you do for you? And I would feel some type of way.
Right.
And it's just like, as I began to really process it, I'm like, okay, I'm a boss chick. Everything I do, I add value to. And I'm like, God really brought me in his life so that I could add value. So I'm clear that whatever Dharius says he wants to do, whether it's jump over the moon, I am to help him get there.
I love that.
And I'm cool with that.
Can we take a moment? No, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times women, they're not sure if what their purpose is for a man.
Right.
And I think that definitely like shows what you've shown her because you made her feel safe and like to know that, okay, this is what I'm here for.
Right.
Yeah, I was doing it was a different kind of podcast, but it was men, right? And it was a couple of guys, and they have a slightly different view on gender roles and things of that particular nature, right? And so they were we started talking about this idea of like helpmate, and I feel like sometimes when people say that word, at least in this context, they kind of reduce helpmate to like domestic duties. You feel me?
They do.
And like that's not what she does. So when she says helpmate, it's not like she sweeps floors.
Right.
It means that I feel like I have a vision that is so robust, it requires gifts other than mine. And so I recognize that those gifts are in her. And so she brings to the vision the things I can't bring to the vision. So she's helping me in that way, not just frying chicken.
Right.
And I think, and I'm not, there's nothing against that at all, right? But I think helpmate can mean different things to different people. And I think it's important for people to have the freedom to say, well, helpmate means for me, we're about to build this empire together. Yeah, or helpmate means for me, I'm just going to focus on raising the children or whatever that is. But I recognize that in her, and straight up, this is no hyperbole. Whether it's with our businesses or with our personal life or with church, it wouldn't be what it is if she hadn't brought her gifts to the table.
Oh no, no, absolutely.
It's just a fact.
I remember the first y'all did the pop-up in Atlanta. And Chandler Moore, he performed. Chandler's my little brother. He hit me and he was like, yo, sis, he's like, y'all gotta come. He said, I'm performing for, or singing for Change Church. They're doing a pop-up. Pull up. I was like, all right, bet. Love Chandler. Like, this kid has prayed over me. Like, very prophetic spirit. Like, he knows the Lord, was raised in the church. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll come. So I came and I saw you walk in. And some people just have a presence. And I was like, and I had never literally had never watched you, hadn't seen you. I just knew you were her. Like it was, I was like, and I don't know if you remember this, but you smiled at me and I smiled back. I was like, I don't know if she recognized me or she just being nice. But you had that presence from the very first time. And that's when I was sold. And I was so happy when you guys decided to come to Atlanta. I was like, they're really coming. Because that was a great, great night. I was like, Lord, I hope they don't go somewhere else and do a pop-up and just decide to go somewhere else.
That's dope. That's dope.
But I knew you're right. Like it couldn't be what it is without you.
Right. And then I just love what I do. And I feel like from day one, whatever it is we've done together, I've enjoyed doing it. So.
That's good. I love it. When you guys were first dating, what were some of the boundaries that you put into place to get this love that God intended? Because you clearly have the love the way God intended. Right.
Yeah, I feel like we learned a lot of them by experimentation. I feel like both of our parents, like I was texting my dad on the way here. I was like, yo, how long y'all been married? I just wanted to, because today is her parents' 45th wedding anniversary.
That's crazy.
So I was like, so how long y'all been married? And it's like their 45th is in September.
Wow.
And so anyway, I'm like, man, they've been married a long time. They got married young. But I have no backstory, no guidance. I saw the marriage. I saw nothing about the dating.
Right.
Wow.
So a lot of that was just kind of experimentation. It like how good are we? You know what I mean? How okay, do we need to date in public or like do we need to stay in public or not? Like, okay, can we Netflix and chill? Like I don't know. So it was like,
We had to try it out.
yeah, it was like we kind of like tried it out. I was like, okay, I don't know if we can chill. Like,
Chill.
Our first date, though,
Yeah.
he took me to a church. I'm
what?
not gonna say who it was. He took me
Yeah,
to
don't say,
a
yeah, that's
revival
definitely-
service for our first date.
Oh, wow.
No,
I'm
no.
going. That was our first. But our second date was the movie that we watched. Remember that movie?
Because I had to get some balance. I didn't have balance in my life at that point.
I'm
it
with
was
you.
It was a little weird. Like, yo, my pastor at college was like, listen. She told me y'all went to church for the date. Nah,
It's not
you
giving me
do
that.
something.
But you know what we
else.
did do is we submitted to counsel too, because he understood that God had a calling on his life early,
Okay.
and we just kind of didn't know what to
Yeah.
do, and so we had a pastor there in Mississippi where he talked to him. He was like, "Hey, I'm interested in dating Shameka, and we want to do
Yeah.
this the right way."
Yeah.
So we
I
were
love
coached
that.
through that.
That helped
process,
us. Yeah,
too.
we got
Wow.
coaching while we were courting.
Right.
That's good.
And, yep.
Yeah.
And so
That's
that was I think
really
that
And that was
really
helpful
huge.
for us.
Yeah.
I needed that. Yeah.
Wow, because a lot of people don't have that. We
At
are
all.
literally figuring it out on
Yeah.
our own
Right.
and
We
making
got it.
mistakes as we
Yeah,
go.
I'm an advocate for that.
I love
Definitely.
that.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I wish a lot of more people had the counsel while
Right.
dating. You usually don't get the counsel until you decide you're gonna be married.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then try to
And-
figure it out.
And like we come across some data, like 1 out of 4 couples who even get it premaritally find it effective. Because what most of them need as a couple, if they're just starting off, is coaching.
Right.
What they need individually is counseling.
Right.
You see what I'm
good,
saying?
that's
So it's
good,
like, yeah, we're doing
yes.
marriage counseling. It's like, they kind of haven't been married long enough to cause trauma to each other.
Right.
Right. But they've gone through their own trauma individually.
Right.
And because of that, they need to do that individual work in therapy to get
Yeah.
back to a baseline. And then you need coaching on how to actually bring those two lives together.
Right.
And I just think, I don't know, I was broke. I was, trying to figure it out
Yeah.
when we were dating, but I was very clear, like
Yeah.
in terms of my vision for my life. And I knew because of just some stuff I saw growing up, how bad relationships make it really hard to have a good life.
Yes.
So super early on, I was like, yo, we need some help with this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can't be in my dorm room not able to go to class because I'm crying over, I got stuff to do.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure this is
Yes.
right. So we kind of
Yeah.
we went hard.
We did.
Earlier.
I mean, we talked
early
about
on.
expectations early on.
Oh,
and-
good.
Oh yeah, I was like, I might be broke. Like it was all of that. It's like, can you handle that?
Yeah, that's
you
real.
could potentially make more money than me, or you can
Right.
think less of me because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was like that.
And you talked to me about even what you expected of me, like,
love
in a
that.
woman.
Oh, okay.
So that was interesting as well.
What
We
did you
just tell
expect?
you just tell it all of the businesses.
We need all the tea.
No, it wasn't that. She's referring to this one thing because she had like some sorority sisters that maybe managed their emotions a bit differently. So me, I just we were having a conversation. I was like, hey, I'm never gonna raise my voice at you.
Wow.
You don't have to raise your voice at me. And then y'all just went down the list. I'm never gonna cut your tires. So you don't have to cut my tires. I'm not gonna, I didn't have a water bed, but there was an instance where somebody, not her, but somebody cut somebody, but I'm not gonna cut your water bed.
I remember
Don't
the
cut
water
my
bed. Yes.
Yeah. So it was that's what she's referring to.
That is hilarious. Oh my goodness.
But I
okay.
mean, it was a lot of communication though, and so we did get to know each other, and that's one of the things that we teach couples, even when they're dating now. That when you're dating, it's like the process of gathering data.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the things he always says. Dating means gathering data. When you get to the point where you've gathered enough data and you feel like maybe they're the one, that's
Yeah.
when you ask the question, "Am I taken or not? Are you ready for that?"
Yeah.
So we did a really good job with just getting to know each other and to gather data.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important,
Right.
getting to know each other. And that's, for me, like when I do start dating someone, getting to know someone, my main thing is like, I want to be their best friend. Like,
Right.
because the way I treat my best home guy or homeboy, like, it's no judgment.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like, I ride for you.
Yeah.
I want that in a relationship as
Yeah.
well, you know?
Absolutely.
And if you don't take the time to cultivate that,
Right.
it's
Yeah,
not going to work.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only best friends can keep vows.
Wow. Oh, y'all, can we say that again?
Yeah.
Only best friends can being a lover alone
Right.
does not get you through better or worse,
Yeah.
rich or poor, sickness and in health.
that's
Only best
good.
friends can keep
right.
vows.
Only best friends. Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good nugget. That's my takeaway already. I got my takeaway for this episode. what are like, okay, in dating, for if you were giving advice to young women, what is something that are green flags to give a woman? Because I know you have the spirit of discernment and our intuition that God has already given us. But what are some green flags for young men that they should look for in women, and that men should look for in, or that
right.
to know, like, if you were telling me, Chris, like, these are things you need to look for,
Right.
to know that this man is
yeah,
like
yeah.
on the right. These are green, because you got red flags and you got green flags.
Yeah. Oh man.
Do I run towards him or do I run away?
So here will be a few things. I just did this thing where it was like, we joke about this. I was
Right.
like, yo, if I had a daughter,
I've been following
Man,
this. That's coming up too.
man would be upset about that. Because some of the
Listen.
stuff I would tell her, she would be on game. She'd be like,
period.
nah, my dad told me you was gonna say that.
That's what our goddaughter, she's like watching it now. She's like, I got it. I know what to do. I
It's
know
so
what to
good.
say.
Yeah, my
I'm loving
goddaughter.
those
Yeah.
reels that you've been doing.
Right.
Yeah. So, but anyway, like I would say just a couple of, everybody, you got your, you have your preferences.
Right.
I would say to a woman, you got your preferences as a woman. And so it's okay to have those preferences, but it's important to be clear on what your standards are.
Right.
Right. And so standards not the ceiling, that's the floor. That's like, yo, this the least I'm taking, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, this is a non-negotiable. And so
Yeah.
your preferences can be negotiable, your standards shouldn't be.
Right.
And then the standards determine what are green flags.
Wow.
Right? So
Right.
let's say like, I would say in terms of standard, if you're talking long-term relationship with a man, you need to know, is he responsible?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, is he responsible? Not just, is he a hard worker? Is he responsible? Does that mean, because that lets me know, yo, I can trust him. I mean, he's going to be responsible with business, but he's also going to be responsible in his decisions because he knows how these decisions affect me.
Yeah.
So I know certain decisions I make, it doesn't just affect me.
Yeah.
It affects her.
Yes.
Right.
It affects my kids. If I do something stupid, it affects my business, my church,
the
my
church. Yeah,
reputation,
right,
all those
yeah.
kinds of things.
Yeah.
And so I would say responsible is going to be one. Two, and this is, I'm not talking about emotionally, I'm not talking about like being hyper emotional here,
Yeah.
but empathy.
Yes.
If he doesn't have empathy, he will never be able to meet your emotional needs. If not, he's going to be judging your needs saying, you shouldn't feel that way, or you
Exactly.
blah, blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
Instead of getting a sense of like, what does this person actually need?
Yeah.
Because we put it this way. It's like, if you're not going to meet my relational needs, what you're telling me is you can only shop in one store, but I'm not going to put what you need on the shelf.
Right.
So I'm going to say
good.
responsible.
Right.
It needs to have, there needs to be empathy. I think the person needs to have ethics.
Yes.
Yeah, like they need to have a standard of, I don't want just a person that won't lie to me. I want a person that just don't lie.
Period. Right.
Yeah. So,
But like-
and I think those are probably the top three that I would
love
say.
it.
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
so I think if I was talking to a woman about all of this, I would first say, you need to know what you want for you. I
period.
wish I had known, which, God, he strategically put us together. But if I had known who Shameka was early on and what I needed, I felt like I could have communicated things differently with him and would have just given us a jump start even
Yes.
in our relationship. So I would probably first by saying to any woman, know what you need, even on an emotional, because I feel like we have this checklist, you got to have good credit, you got to have this much money in the bank, those type of things. But I'm like, let's think about emotionally what you need too.
Yeah.
Like, do you need someone that's going to affirm you? Do you need someone that's going to be affectionate to you?
Yes.
And that way, when you have this emotional list too, as you're gathering data,
Yeah.
you're asking the right type of questions to see if this is the right type of person for
love
you.
it.
Yeah,
So I would
that's
kind of
good.
say your list has what it truly of what you need.
Yeah.
And then based off of that, I would say, okay, these are green flags. So like if I'm big on family, then I'm asking questions during the dating process. How's your relationship with your family?
Yeah.
What do y'all do during holidays? So if this person like is doing none of that and they're not open to it, that's a
You
red
already
flag
know.
for me.
Yes.
Right. So I would kind of gauge it in that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Because for me, like, it's funny, I'm telling my business now. But that's what you're here for.
That's why you really
That's
here.
why
I
I
know why
really
you
want to know my
here.
business. So there, recently I was, my show, we had a Zatima premiere, and my realtor was there and she had posted me on her story. And this young woman had a dream that me and her brother got married.
Okay.
And she woke up and saw me on her friend's story, and she was like, "Do you know this girl?" She was like, "I had a dream that her and my brother were together." So my friend, she's like, let me see what you look like. So she sends you, everything is like Instagram, what you got to see the perception first.
Right.
So she's like, oh yeah, she's single. So then she sent it to me and she's like, he's interested in you. And I was like, yeah, send him my number. If you want to talk, call me.
Yeah.
And like we're talking and have so many similarities. And he was raised by pastors.
Okay.
So he's like, he knows his sister's like, don't let him fool you. He know the word too. And I'm like, okay. But it was a situation where like, he's like, yeah, I need to get back in church because COVID really kind of got people used to just sitting at home watching it
Right.
versus coming back. And which is, I love that we are back in church, in the house, just with like-minded people. We're all in alignment.
Right.
But I'm wondering, like, okay, as I navigate this, because I'm like, okay, Lord, I just feel like this is my year.
Okay.
I feel like God is bringing my husband.
Let's go.
You know, and people like kind of like when I bought this house, they were like, why are you buying this house? Like, you're never gonna find a man. Like it was gonna be intimidating for someone.
Wow.
And I was like, well, I'm 40. I'm not gonna keep waiting on him to come. Like, if he don't ever come, I'm gonna live where I want to live.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so as I navigate this, if you could tell me, as little sis, and we're not that far apart, but like, little sis, because I've noticed you're doing the what I would tell my daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
As I'm navigating this, because aesthetically, this man is fine.
Yes. Come on.
Fine. And I'm like, come on, Lord.
Yes.
And we have so many similarities, and we're gonna continue to get to know each other. But as I navigate this, what would you tell me, like, just as advice, like, hey, sis, this is what you should do if this is what you really like. This is how you should like navigate this.
Yeah, I think I would tell you. Let me keep it a buck, right?
Okay, yeah,
like,
keep
I would
it a buck.
tell,
I
I would
love
like,
it.
okay, listen. I would say, I want you to be super clear on what you feel like you have to have in a relationship to be fulfilled, and whether or not he is actually demonstrating some of that versus whether or not you are falling for what might just be potential.
Yeah. That's good.
Like, I think you should see potential, but you don't fall in love with potential.
No.
Right.
Right? You need to, you want to fall in love with the,
Yes.
and so, and when I'm talking about potential, I'm not talking about like career or anything like that. Of course, that takes time.
Right.
But like, how do we put it? We put it, so it's like your needs need to automatically be his values.
Right.
So for example, if she needs affirmation, I need to value affirming.
Right.
Yes.
That way, it's always going to be organic for me, and it's not going to be something I have to put on.
Right.
Yes.
And she is not going to have to live with wondering, am I going to get it this week?
Right.
Or not?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know what though. I think those needs are different for everybody.
Right.
But like, yo, what do I really need in a relationship? And then when I look at him, it's like, does he just kind of do that automatically? And if so, I would be like, yeah, that's a proceed. That's a green light. You know what I mean? And if it's not there yet, it doesn't mean it's a red light. It just means, yo, this is a yellow light right now. Just
We're
look to see.
yielding.
Yeah, is he gonna have to?
Right.
Is he gonna have to try to do this? Of course, he's gonna have to learn how to do it the way
Right.
you need it.
Yeah.
But he's gotta value it,
That's right.
and then it'll be organic and automatic. That's to me, that's the most important
No,
thing.
and that's what's helped us because we talk about this. We do check-ins, so we believe in doing check-ins often just to see how we're doing with our needs, like emotionally how you're doing.
Yeah.
But then even I believe, and when I'm working with couples, I tell them like every quarter, like our lives are changing so much. As we when we get halfway through the year, we want something totally different.
Yep.
But I think you should.
No, that's right.
So I think you should
Affirm
do-
me. No, don't affirm me. Hold me.
No, don't.
In this season of my life,
it.
I feel like I need more affection.
Yes.
So just in this season, that's what I tell him.
I love
And so
it.
we kind of, I believe, like every quarter, do a whole check-in. talk about really what it is that you need
Yeah.
just in this moment. You may be dealing with things or going through shows, and you might just need a little more affection or a little more affirmation. So I'm big on doing the check-ins, and this is all a part of communication, and it's
Yeah.
going to even help the relationship even the more.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. Now, you spoke on something about basically kind of loving each other the way you need to be loved.
Right.
Yeah.
Did that all come from communicating, just basic communication, like this is what I need, or was that trial and error? Like, were
Both.
you ever not getting
Yeah.
what you needed and like had
Yes.
to like, hey, this is
All
what
the
I
time.
need?
Right.
Okay.
1,000%.
Okay.
Yes.
And it's-
All the time.
And I think it's because we didn't know. Like a lot of the stuff we had to teach ourselves. So yes, we had somebody that coached us in the dating, but once we jumped in marriage, we were 22. Right?
Yeah. Super young.
Yeah, we were young.
Yeah.
So at that age, you don't know you enough. Well, we didn't know us enough. I can't speak for everyone. We didn't know us enough
Yeah.
Yeah.
to be able to even articulate to another person
Right.
what we needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, and I know this sounds easy for us to say, but I wish people would trust us a little bit more when we say this. When people feel like, yo, I'm so behind schedule, and I wish I would be married by now. And I'm just like, your experience is going to be so much
right.
better
Yeah.
because all the years we spent getting to know ourselves
Right.
was also years we spent doing some damage to each other
That's right.
that we had
Yeah.
to heal.
Yeah.
Right? So, and that can be really tough.
Yeah.
And when a person is a little bit older and they've done the work, that's what's
Right.
and they know who they are, they know what they need, you start light years ahead
Yes, you do.
of where we've actually started. And it can be more blissful.
Yeah.
And your relationship can be like like an airplane takeoff as opposed to a roller coaster.
Right.
Yes.
When we did it, it was like it's a roller coaster, some ups and downs because there's some things we just didn't know
Yeah.
about each other. So there's some experimentation,
Yeah.
and then there was like some honest conversation. So like we've been working on this thing we call it Relationships Uncensored.
Yeah, I'm ready to get in a relationship so I can come to that. Like,
But it's
like
like-
couples. I'm like,
And I think our lane is like, yo,
Right.
not uncensored in terms of hurting each other, but you got to be uncensored with
Yes.
each other
Yeah.
That's
in
real.
every area. And so
Right.
like those check-ins,
Yeah.
it's like, it's not brutal, but it's just like, yo, we say like, instead of saying, how am I doing? It's like, how we say your emotions are like cups.
Right.
How are your cups
How your
this
cups.
week?
I love that.
And it's
How are
like,
your cups?
my affirmation cup is a little low.
Right.
On my, but you've got to, if it's low, she's got to say it's low.
Right. Yeah.
Instead of trying to spare my feelings and
Yeah.
hurting our relationship.
Yeah.
So I feel like the uncensored communication is the key.
I love that.
And that's helped us so much. And then I know for us too, because we were so young, we had to read a lot. So we have read so much material and then we've taken it and tried this what one person said and what somebody else said. So now we just kind of did a
That didn't work.
combination
That
of
didn't-
Right, I'm the same way. I'm in
Yeah.
all these type of relationship books
Right.
trying to.
Yeah.
I have. It's crazy. Like I've read books. Like it was one book that like how to get a man or how to keep him. Like all these things women should
Yes.
do.
Yeah.
I read the weight. I've read it's like every single book that like can tell me in different ways how to keep a man. And I feel like turning 40. There was times even in my 30s I felt like I was behind the mark. Like career was going great,
Yeah.
and I look around like, Lord, I have everything I want. Where is the love?
Right.
You know, and like I know I have love in me. I give it to everybody that I'm around. But where's my person?
Right.
And there are times where I would get discouraged. Like I would walk into my room and all the pillows were lined up on one side of the bed where somebody else should be, and I'm just like, is this my life?
Right.
Like, you know, and it gets discouraging.
Yeah.
It really does. And I think now once I hit 40, I hit a place where clarity, I'm talking about extreme clarity in what I want, in therapy, healing, and unlearning a lot of things.
Right.
And I think now I'm realizing, I know everything's in God's timing, but it's also knowing, like you're saying, you will have learned so much and be light years ahead when you are a little late to the game, or if you think you're late, you're gonna be right on time.
Yeah.
And even with my career, like I know how I am. Like guys, like no, you need to focus on this right now, because I know if I bring somebody in, you're gonna be a little distracted, right? Because that's me. I'll be like, what you need? Right. Like I never want my person to feel neglected. Like and I put a lot of other things back to make sure they're good.
Yeah.
Right. No, we
So
understand that.
I feel like a part of that is because he knows the right time.
Yeah.
But I feel like the time is
time
coming. I
is
feel like
coming.
it's
Sure,
drawing
year.
near.
Your time. Come
It
on.
is. It's been an
Yeah.
amazing start. And even my manager, Dinorah, she was just like, she said it was something at the top of the year. I just feel it. She was like, this is like going to be an incredible year for you.
Right.
And she was like, I feel like you're going to find your husband, like business, everything is just going to like explode.
I love it.
And I feel that too. It's off to a great start, but I'm still trying to like figure out this whole dating thing and trying to lock it down, you know?
I think what I would probably say is, so with the dating, yes, you're learning each other, you're gathering data. But I think when I had the revelation of, and it's some of the stuff we probably read, and it's in scriptures how it talks about a husband and a wife, how you're supposed to meet each other's needs. When we start leaning into communication first, but then learning each other's needs. And so my number one goal is to meet his needs, and his is mine. I felt like it just did something new for our relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
100%.
that. I want to know for you guys, what is like the definition of love the way God intended for you two?
So for me, it's going to be a couple of things. And well, let me tell you what I mean, what I think about when you say that, right?
Okay.
I think about this. The creator of a thing knows how to get the best out of it.
Right.
So because for me, this whole idea of love and relationships is God's idea. Doing it his way isn't just about, yo, I want to do this because it's right, you know, quote unquote, right in the what a moral sense.
Yeah.
But like, I want to do it this way because it's wise. It just makes sense to listen to the person that kind of created it, you know? And so for me, what that means practically, and I know some people have a problem with this, but it's like, some people talk about like the term servant leadership. It's like for me, with my wife, is I'm a servant lover. And by that is, what are the relational needs that God intended to be met in the context of marriage?
Right.
There are certain things that only I can do
Right.
emotionally and relationally for her.
Yes.
And so saying part of my job as a husband is to do those things,
Yeah.
that is like, yo, that is love
That's right.
God's way. This is love as he intended.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's I say a couple things, but you know, I'm a speaker, so I say too much, so that's enough, right?
No, it's so good.
Yeah, that's good. And I would ditto that because it goes all back to the scriptures where in marriage it talks about a husband is supposed to satisfy his wife and vice versa, wife satisfy her husband. So that's, I believe, if you meet each other's needs, you keep God in the foundation as a foundation, then I believe the marriage can be everything that God has called it to be. Yeah.
What do you feel like love the way God intended in a dating phase for people who aren't married yet?
Yep. So a couple of things. So one is obviously it's the gathering the data, and that is, okay, what are my standards,
Right.
and what are my needs, and do I feel like this person meets them organically? Now, once that's taken place, this is about to be a little controversial. Okay,
Lord.
So
This
we're
is
about to get a
spicy.
little controversial. Once you kind of feel like I got a green light here, and when I say green light, meaning, okay, I feel safe investing fully emotionally. I don't think you should be reckless emotionally, but like, okay, I'm going all in emotionally here. I feel like the same patterns, and not the same, but similar, the similar way you would serve relational needs when you married, you practice that when you're dating.
Right.
Yeah, so I think it's just that. I know it is. Yeah, that's controversial. Wait a minute. So I'm not saying everything, right? Of course, there are certain things that should be reserved for marriage. Yet at the same time, it's like, so you're gonna wait until the ring before you practice meeting her needs. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna wait because I know you think when you say I do, you can just flip the switch and it takes it to another level, and it's like, no, not really. So I believe it's kind of like dating is great practice, and it's not just, if it's love God's way, then it can show up in the dating phase and in the marriage phase.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We are going to get to the part of the show where we have positive outcomes. And this is where the fans write in and we kind of give them advice.
Okay.
So this one says, I've had a boyfriend for 5 years. We live together and have a child together. I'm having a hard time deciding whether or not we should be together because we're 5 years in with a baby and he has not proposed. We've talked about marriage. He says he wants to be married, but he's not ready because he wants to make sure we're financially secure before doing so. What should I do? We really just kind of tapped into this. We really just talked about this.
Yeah. You know, if I was talking to her, one of the things I would tell her is like, I want you to give yourself permission to define too long for you.
Right.
Because nobody can define that. Except
Nobody
for you.
can define that. You know what season of life you're in. You know the kind of investment that you've made in the relationship and how you tried to show yourself to be a person that wants to spend the rest of your life with this person. And at some point, you have to decide, you have to accept that I can't control another person.
Right.
The only person I can control is me. And you have to set a boundary, because I don't know if there's anything she can do besides assuring him that money's not
Yeah.
an issue for her
Right.
to make him change his mind. So if I had a daughter, I would tell her, I wouldn't say, give it another year, give it 2 years. I was like, when you feel like you've had enough,
Yeah.
then that's the right time.
Yeah, because I feel like people tend to like put on you what their timeline is. Like, why are you like? I'm sure her friends may be like, "Girl, why are you still with him?" Or "Why are you waiting this long?" But that's their timeline.
That's right.
That may not be hers. You know, and I feel like society and our peers put that pressure on us to like, oh, then you start pressuring your guy like, so when are you gonna do this? Because I'm embarrassed because everybody else thinks we should have done this by now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's good. How do you feel about that?
No. I do agree. I believe that she does have to set her own boundaries, but I know also sometimes with guys, they want to get it because we're portraying this lifestyle that we want to live, and they feel like they have to have enough to keep up with it.
Yeah.
So in assuring him, I would assure him, and I would live in that way to show right now, like, I'm good. I just want you. And we don't have to ever have anything else. And I'm good. But I would make sure that I'm living that as well. If that's the true issue. Because that might not be the true issue.
Yeah, a lot of times I don't feel like women are putting that pressure. Sometimes they are, but a lot of times you've been with them 5 years. You're probably not putting that kind of pressure on them monetarily, but man, we do put that pressure on ourselves.
Okay, so we are coming to the close, and we like to end it with keep it blank, sweetie, and you fill in the blank with something that resonated from the podcast.
Okay.
So I'll start with, let me see, because there's so many nuggets, good Lord. I would say keep it honest, sweetie.
Yes.
Keep it honest, because you have to be honest with each other.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to say. But I can come up with a couple more. What you got?
Yeah, I'm going to say, and I know y'all going to wonder where I got this one from. Yeah, no, but I mean it. I'm going to say keep it spicy, sweetie.
I like that. That's good.
I think some of the conversations need to be edgy. I mean, keep it uncensored.
Yeah.
I mean, spicy in the sense that things that you are feeling that are positive and passionate, articulating those things.
Right.
Yeah.
I love
And
that.
I'm just speaking from a man's perspective.
Yes.
Because the 30-year-old man still need to hear what the 3-year-old boy hear. You know how 3-year-old boy's like, look at them muscles.
Yes.
And he starts flexing his muscles. That it affects the 30-year-old man the same way.
Yes.
He just doesn't visibly flex.
Yes.
He's flexing internally.
Yes.
So he needs to hear those things. So she will do that. So I walk in a room and she'll make a noise. You know, sometimes like we'll be at church and I'm like, wait, you know what I mean? The green room.
Like when I did that?
Yeah.
So it be in the Lord's
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I'm like, we need that. That's spicy. I
Yes,
need
keep
that.
it spicy. I love it.
I would probably say, so I really want to say honest, but I would say keep it real. And I would say real within you. Like you need to know what you want and be able to communicate what you want. And so I
Yes.
think if you're being honest and real in the relationship, then it's gonna just help so many different things. And I think when we start being something else other than who we truly are, then that's where everything goes left.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Go.
So we want you guys to keep it honest, keep it real, and keep it spicy. That's so good. I love it. So I just want to thank you guys so much for coming, and thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Keep It Positive, Sweetie, and make sure you guys continue to keep it positive. I love you guys, and I hope you got so much out of this as I did.